Hello, Teacher Jill here. I wanted to talk to you guys today a little bit about six things that I think are important to know for your gogokid demo lesson and interview. So I remember being so nervous for mine. And it wound up being great. The mentors on the other side are so nice and so kind. But I went online and, of course, I did a bunch of research because I needed to know as much as I could before going into that so that I could feel as little less anxious as possible, as least anxious as possible. So I hope this video can help maybe put some of your anxiety at ease, because if you're anything like me, you'll be very anxious. It was my first time online teaching, so I was nervous. It was a whole new ball game for me. So here are 6 tips that I have going into your demo lesson, just things that you should know, especially if this is your first time online teaching. But you're going to do great, I promise. So the first thing that is super important to know if you're going to work for an online ESL company is TPR. So what is TPR, right? You may have heard it before, you may not have, but you're going to hear it a lot when you start online teaching. So TPR stands for Total Physical Response. It's basically using body language to convey meaning. So for example, if you want the student to repeat after you, maybe you're teaching the word arm, you might introduce it and say, arm. And you're going to cup your hand to your ear, and that's their signal to say arm and repeat what you just said. So I'm just using my body, right, to convey meaning. That's TPR. And you can do it not just with commands, but when you're with actual words. Right? Well, I used my body to convey arm. Maybe you're teaching about butterflies. Butterfly. Right? So now I'm using my hands to be a butterfly. There's so many things you can do. And you can use the screen and TPR together. So if you want them to say something quietly, shh, get really close and whisper. Or if you want something really loud, or if there's something really big, get far away and use your whole body to open up and be big and loud. So there's so many ways you can use TPR, but it's essential for online teaching, especially with younger students, because this is a total immersive English program, and they may not know any English at all. So a great way to help them out is by using TPR. So that's my first tip, TPR, Total Physical Response. So when you're going into your demo lesson, you want to make sure you're using TPR. Number 2 is props. Have some props. Make it fun, make it interesting. I mean, you are by no means required to, but I can tell you one of the things that my interviewer said that was super positive was the props that I had. She's like, wow, your props were great. They really helped enhance the lesson. So I use a lot of dolls because there's a lot of body parts. I use a lot of dolls. You know, you can do arm, leg, head. I always have a boy and a girl. You know, you can use can point out all of the target vocabulary words or body parts on those. I have color cards back here. Say you're working on red and blue. This one always is a hit for me. So, and not just when I'm doing colors, but for lots of different lessons I've pulled these in, but I use balloons. Right, now I have blue, and then I let it go. So there's lots of fun things you can use in terms of props, hats, silly headbands. Honestly, the goofier you get, the better. So it's just another great way to convey meaning and make it real and fun. So I would have a few props ready to use for your lesson. Number 3, you're going to want to make corrections. So You're going to feel so silly because your interviewer is obviously going to be a grown adult that you're giving this lesson to. And they're going to be pretending to be a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old. And you might feel really silly and really awkward, but they're going to purposefully make mistakes, right? So I'm trying to think in my interview what my mentor did. I think I was teaching hands or arms or something, and I said 2 hands. And I went like this. And my mentor said 2 hand. And so I said, good job. Listen, 2 hands. And then she repeated 2 hands. So they're really looking for you to make corrections if they make a mistake, because parents, when you actually are a gogokid teacher and you're teaching a lesson, parents are going to look to you to correct their child. That's something huge that they're going to be looking for. So they want to see a teacher correcting their child, and that's going to help increase your bookings too when you start as a teacher. That the fact that you correct their child when they make a mistake, they want to see that. So definitely, as silly as it might feel to correct this adult who's pretending to be a 4-year-old child, make sure that you are correcting them and making those corrections as you're going through your lesson. Number 4, use as little incidental language as possible. Keep incidental language to a minimum. And what I mean by that is don't use a lot of words. So if you're teaching hand, right? Hand. When you introduce it, hand. And then I might whip this girl out and say, hand. And then maybe I'll whip out Mr. Incredible. Hand. Good job. Now notice I didn't say, this is my hand. Hand. Look, hand. Here is another hand. No, I literally just said hand. I just said the word hand. And I used my TPR to convey some meaning in there, but I said hand. That was it. Because again, this is a total immersion program, and some of your students are going to walk in knowing no English, and some of them are going to walk in only knowing a little, and a lot of them are only going to walk in knowing a little bit of English. So you want to keep that incidental language to a minimum, and the mentor on the other side of that screen is definitely looking for you to keep that to a minimum. That was something that was also remarked to me, that I kept my incidental language to the bare minimum. So I know that's something they're looking for because they told me. So definitely use as few words as possible. A lot of the lessons you're going to have maybe 2 vocabulary words and maybe 2 target sentences, and you might extend beyond that within the lesson, but again, keep your incidental language to a minimum and use your TPR and your props to convey as much meaning as you can. Your demo is only going to be 10 minutes long, so you should be good to go. You're not going to have to get through a ton of material, which is nice. So you can definitely keep that language down. Number 5, speak slowly. And that might sound really oh yeah, of course, really easy. But I know for myself, when I'm nervous, I speak really quickly and I start to go. So it was something I had to keep telling myself throughout the interview in my head to slow down, right? Speak slowly. When you do your introduction, hello, my name is Teacher Jill. Teacher Jill. What is your name? Really slowly. Because again, the mentor on the other side of that screen is going to be pretending to be a 4 or a 5-year-old. And when you start teaching, you're actually going to be teaching 4 and 5-year-olds. And you just need to speak slowly so that they can understand you and follow along. It's very important. Because if you're speaking really fast, they're not going to be able to understand all the words that are coming out of your mouth. So it's just going to help you zero in on those target vocabulary words. So speak slowly for sure. Snail's pace, right? And number 6, be positive. They're definitely going to be looking for you to, constantly, good job, high five, great job. A lot of movement, just a lot of positivity. If they make a mistake, you're not, no, you good job, and then you try again, So you're going to want to be as positive as possible. In your demo lesson, there is going to be an inbuilt reward system. There always is in every gogokid lesson. You can award stars to your students. So definitely try and, again, remember to be periodically rewarding them a star. And gogokid also asks you to have a secondary reward system built in so that you're constantly rewarding. I usually use ice cream or pizza. So when I do my introduction, hello, my name is Teacher Jill. Teacher Jill. Hello. What is your name? Good job. When you do a good job, you get some pizza. 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 And that might be how I introduce it. So I ham it up a lot. But when you're doing your demo lesson, have a secondary reward system in there and introduce it, and just a brief introduction. And typically my introduction, when I say my name and introduce the reward system, and I usually will ask like, how are you? Are you happy? That's where you're going to get the most incidental language from me. Sometimes, I know when I'm introducing the reward system, they might not always understand all of the words that I'm saying. But I know that as the lesson goes on and I reward them, they'll understand a lot more. So usually that's where I'm the heaviest on incidental language. And then for the lesson, it's as little as possible. So I hope that makes sense. So just to review, for your demo lesson, you're going to want to definitely make sure you use TPR, total physical response, your body to convey meaning. You're going to want to have at least a few props on hand just to make your lesson fun and interesting. Definitely, number 3, make sure you correct that mentor when they make a mistake, even though it may feel so silly. Number 4, use as little incidental language as possible. Keep it to the bare minimum. Number 5, speak slowly. And number 6, be positive. Be rewarding, be encouraging throughout the entire lesson. And just make sure you're telling them they're doing a good job and that you're giving them those stars, giving that secondary reward. Now, for your demo, it's only a 10-minute lesson, so you're not going to reward them with all 5 stars, and you're not going to give them your entire secondary reward. You might reward them with 2 or 3 stars and 1 or 2 of your secondary rewards. So that's fine. Don't feel like you have to throw in a star every second. It's okay. But just make sure you're remembering to do it. So if there's any other questions you have or anything else I can help you out with to prepare for your demo or just generally in teaching, feel free to shoot me an email below. Give this video a like and subscribe if you want more. Want to hear more when I come out with future videos about gogokid and online teaching. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I wish you happy teaching. Okay, bye.